Premillennial, amillennial, postmillennial, the millennial reign of Christ. What do all these terms mean? My name is Dr. Matt O'Reilly. This is Theology Project Online, and those are the questions we're talking about today. All of those terms come from different interpretations of Revelation chapter 20. In this video, we're going to take a look at them and try to unravel the details just a little bit. Some of you have already researched this and studied it and formed your own views on the millennium in Revelation chapter 20. If that's you, leave a comment. Tell me what your view is and why you hold it. If you're new to the question or you're still trying to figure things out, drop a comment and tell me what the biggest question for you is. If you are new to Theology Project, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, tap the bell. That way you'll get notified when new videos go live. Also, be sure to check out the description where I've got links to my 3 favorite accessible books, commentaries on Revelation. There's also a link to my brand new book, Free to Be Holy, which is a short study on sanctification in biblical theology. It's published by Seedbed, and Seedbed has teaching videos to go with it if you wanted to use it in a small group setting. So the question of the millennium begins in Revelation chapter 20, where we are told that Satan is bound for 1,000 years and that Jesus reigns for 1,000 years. Martyrs are raised from the dead and reign along with him. Just before that, in Revelation 19, we have the vision of the rider on the white horse. This is a vision of Jesus. Most interpreters take it to be the second coming of Jesus. And then after the millennium description in Revelation 20 verses 7 through 10, Satan is released. He goes to deceive the nations. The enemies of God gather to go to war against the Messiah, and then fire comes from heaven and they are judged and consumed, and Satan is thrown into the lake of fire. So what are the options? Premillennialism, amillennialism, postmillennialism. Each one of those describes the second coming of Jesus in relation to that millennial reign of Christ. So premillennialism says Jesus returns, the second coming comes before the millennial reign of Jesus. Amillennialism says that the millennium is a symbol of the entire period of the church age, the time between the first coming and second coming of Jesus. And postmillennialism says that Jesus returns after the millennium. Premillennialism almost always takes the millennium to be a literal 1,000-year period. In amillennialism, it's the number 1,000 is symbolic for a long time, the church age, the period between the first and second comings of Jesus. And in postmillennialism, it could be a literal 1,000-year reign just before Jesus comes back, the second coming, or it could be, again, a symbolic, lengthy period of time where the world is largely evangelized, the nations are honoring God and obeying Jesus, and then Jesus comes back after that lengthy period of time. Those who hold the premillennial view tend to critique the other two by saying, just look at Revelation 19 or Revelation 20. If Revelation 19 is the second coming and Revelation 20 is the millennial reign of Jesus, then isn't it obvious that the second coming precedes the millennial reign of Jesus? Therefore, premillennialism is the right view, isn't it? But amillennial interpreters and postmillennial interpreters respond by arguing that it's not necessary to interpret chapter 19 and chapter 20 chronologically. That is to say, they're giving you different angles on these events, and they're not necessarily intended to be read one event happening right after the other. Another way to take the chronology of these events comes from Robert Mulholland in his commentary on Revelation. I've got a link to this in the description below. And he actually says that the rider on the white horse in Revelation 19 is a vision of the incarnation. So it's more about the first coming of Jesus. It's the theological reality behind the historical events of the birth and arrival of Jesus. Then you have the millennial period after that, which for Mulholland is, he's an amillennialist, and it's the entire period of the church age between the first and second comings of Jesus. And then in Revelation 20 verses 7 through 10, when the fire comes from heaven to consume the enemies of God. Mulholland takes that to be everything tied together with the second coming. So the return of Jesus and the judgment of God's enemies and the casting of Satan into the pit of, or into the lake of fire. So that's another way to come at it as well. There is much more that could be said about the millennial reign of Christ, premill, amil, postmil. That's just a quick introduction to give you a sense of what's at stake and how different people come at these terms. Take a minute to leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the options. Are you premill, amil, postmill? What do you think about Mulholland's argument? Have you looked at any of these options in detail? I'd love to hear from you. Again, this is Theology Project. My name is Matt O'Reilly. See you next time.